Hello, FlossTube. My name is Shanda, and I live along the Continental Divide in Idaho, where today it is blustery and rainy, but we need it. I have had a major sinus infection from all the smoke that was in the air. We've gotten off pretty easy this year, but it really started coming in the last couple of days. But it is raining and clearing out the air and just beautiful here. A slow, gentle rain, starting to feel like autumn, and I am ready for it. I have been missing in action for 8 or 9 months, 8 months, and I apologize for that, but I have been busy stitching, I've been busy gardening, I've been busy traveling to Alaska twice, and just most of all, finishing a lot of my finished projects into fully finished FFOs. And I'm going to show you those today. Today I have quilting, I have some project bags, I have cross stitch. I'll do the quilting at the end, which is kind of tradition. So those of you that don't want quilting can just turn it off. But I even have some fully finished objects, my autumnal projects from prior years that some of you may want to stitch, and there's a little bit of time here before Halloween and autumn kicks into full gear. But I have probably, I don't know, 6, 8, 10, 12, including the quilts that are fully finished objects, things that I finally got done. So let's get started. Thank you again for returning. I appreciate you spending time with me. I have been watching some FlossTubes, and all I can say is sometimes the outside world doesn't know what they're missing. Stitching warms my soul. It gets me through those hard times and through those moments when, quite frankly, I wasn't recording or doing anything this summer regarding FlossTube except stitching. Because sometimes I just need to turn the social media off. I just need to have time to meld, be happy. Not that doing FlossTubes makes me sad, but sometimes social media is a huge intrusion into our lives. And I have had to learn to kind of cut it off. But I am back with some fully finished objects and refreshed. Let's just put it that way. Refreshed and ready to start again. Okay, the first one I'm going to show is from Stacy Nash. Back in the day, I want to say mid-2000s, there's probably no date on these books. But she used to do a series of these books, A Simply Early Christmas, From Me to Thee, From Hollyhock Farm, and Love Letters. They're booklets in booklet form. You can tell the ones I still want to stitch. But some of them had a vellum cover on them. I don't think you can get these anymore. I haven't seen them out anywhere. But the one I want to show you is from Hollyhock Farm. And I'm going to create my pile over here. From Hollyhock Farm. And I want to say she had maybe 2 or 3 more. But from Hollyhock Farm, that beautiful huswife on the front, but that's not what I stitched. A couple years ago, this was done a couple years ago. 1776 flower urn. And I turned all those white blossoms, which I just love this. I love the flag. I love the urn. I turned all of those blossoms blue. And there's my finish. I liked the blue a little bit better. It brought out the blue of the flag. It made the flowers stand out a little bit more. But this frame I found on Etsy, and it has, I'm going to leave this in here, it has either the peg to just prop it on a shelf or the sawtooth hanger, but it's from Rustic and Refined, and this gentleman is out of Idaho. I think this was a 5x5 frame, or a little bit smaller than a 5x5 frame as far as the cutout opening by the time you had the lip on the back with the glass. And I think this was only like $13, but I just loved the finish. It's nothing fancy, just a distressed black, and he had other colors available, other sizes available. But that is my finish for 1776 flower urn. We are coming up on the semi-quincentennial, the 250th anniversary of America. And I will be showing some projects that I'm going to be kind of concentrating on for that event next year. Not too much though, because as patriotic stitching comes along next year, I'm sure FlossTube will be flooded with lots of good patriotic stitching. So anyway, that's finish number 1. It was just a frame. I did the framing myself out of From Hollyhock Farm. Sorry, that's kind of because of the vellum. Fun project. I have been saving and saving, probably and collecting for probably 2 weeks, thinking I'm going to be doing this FlossTube, and I cannot wait to get the FlossTube done so I can take all this fun stuff and integrate it into my decorating and put it away and start making more. The next finish I finished this, I stitched this with some friends probably 2 or 3 years ago in honor of a birthday. This is Patriotic Poppies, and Christy Crosshatch Quilts just finished the autumn one of these into a beautiful pouch. If you haven't watched hers, you need to go see it. She said she's going to be making the patriotic one too. But look at that sheep with the bunting on his back. Some of these poppies have wool. I didn't do that. I stitched everything. But this is Patriotic Poppies by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. And compared to Christie's, this one's kind of boring, but it's a pillow. I just turned mine into a pillow. I should have made that wagon a little bluer, but I still love it. I just love it. This one's ready now for next summer, right? And I trimmed it in the back, or did the back of the same as this over here. Patriotic Poppies by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. Fun one. The next one, let me find was my very first drum. And it was so much fun to do. This is Heartstring Samplery Schoolhouse Coverlet Drum. Now I stitched, let me put this down. I stitched the house, or the schoolhouse, but I was going to put my children's initials up here, and I didn't. And I didn't do this back. There's a strange cat out my window. I didn't do this kind of back. I wasn't sure, for being my very first drum, that I could get that lined up right. So I did just the schoolhouse, and then on the back, you'll see here in a minute, I put ABC 1, 2, 3, and I did mine in red, which I believe was 221. But here is my finish. I put brown rickrack across the top. I just put some lace across the bottom. Let me scoot up to the camera a little bit more. My daughter, several years ago, had made me these beautiful glass end pins, and I stuck them up there. This one isn't, but these are all bead by bead, and then she glued them. I don't know if you could see those. Here's my ABC and my 1, 2, 3, and I put a piece down the back. I really wish I would have made this smaller, but I was going off of some kind of wonky directions, not from Beth Twist, but from a blog that I was watching, and I really should have closed this in a little bit. That was totally my fault. But for my first drum, I am very happy with it. Schoolhouse Coverlet Drum by Beth Twist, Heartstring Samplery, and it is now done. This one's probably been done, I don't know, 2 years. I was working on this when I went to the retreat in Missouri with Quilter Station, but it's done. For my first drum, I am totally happy with it. Same on the top and the bottom. Like filled it with crushed walnut shells. I love it. Okay, my next fully finish is Letters for Santa from Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. Here is my finish. And my sprig is real. I went out to my tree here just before I filmed, and I got my sprig. Candy canes, some jingle bells, a Merry Christmas, and then, of course, Letters for Santa right over here. That one's done for Christmas. My real twig will become, I'm sure, there was 3 fronds on it. There we go. Anyway, I'll probably switch it out for, look, it's even got new green growth. I'll switch it out for an artificial one and maybe some red berries, crushed berries for the Christmas season, but love it. This one is done on 18 count. Oh, it's one of my very favorite fabrics to work on beside all 36 count, but it's like a natural raw 18 count something. It's almost like a burlap bag for really rustic-y projects. I love it. The next one I finished myself from a thrift store find. I need to sit back so you guys can see. Stacy Dash Primitives, Merry Christmas Pin Keep. You can see that. This frame was this awful tan, nasty, ugh. And I've had it because I really like the frame. I stained it black with a black wash. Covered it in just some scrapbook paper on the back. I still need to put a sawtooth hanger up here. But there's my finish. I want to say this is 36 count. I think this is the one I did on beeswax. I have 2 here that are Christmassy. And they were both done on the very same fabric. So one was on one half of the fabric, and the other one I stitched on the other fabric. And the other one is a Pineberry Lane. But Merry Christmas Pin Keep from Stacy Nash. The next one is the only one I had framed at Hobby Lobby. I do have one more at Hobby Lobby, but I'll show that on my next video. And it is a Christmas stitch. Sorry if I'm sounding so congested. With the smoke in the air, I have been really kind of fighting just a sinus infection with all the particulates in the air. And I can't remember if I showed you this last time. Ohio Farmstead Pin Keep by Stacy Nash. And I want to show you the pattern, the chart. 36 count mystery linen with called for colors. I don't even have the started and finished date on here. I better look that up on my computer. I honestly cannot remember. I may have shown this before. I may not. I don't know. But look at the peacock. I almost changed that Ohio to Idaho, but I didn't want to. I wanted to leave it Ohio. Stacy Nash, Ohio Farmstead Pin Keep. Love that one. A couple of more FFOs, and then we'll move on to something, but this does not count the FFOs I did for quilting. This is the other one I did. I'm pretty sure it's 32 count beeswax. And this is from Pineberry Lane, Christmas, 1878. And sorry, I didn't pull the chart. And this one I had was for glass. The other one had no glass. So this one has got a glassy glare on it. I am so ready now to decorate for fall and Christmas and some of these patriotic things coming up because my FFOs are done. The next one, totally my fault. It is from Sub Rosa Designs, 1776. This is a PDF that I bought off of her Etsy. 1776 Sub Rosa Design. Look at that White House with the flag on it. And I had a little bit of running. I substituted out a blue for a little bit of blue that I had and an overdyed, and that blue was at least, I don't even know who the maker was, but that blue was at least 10, 12 years old. And I thought, oh, it's the perfect amount. I'm going to use it on this one. But it ran just a little bit down here by the 6. Anyway, there is my finish. It fit pretty good in a 5x7 frame. Sub Rosa Design. I'll show you the chart here again in a minute. Love that White House and that flag. Oh, it's a great semi-quincentennial stitch. It went pretty quick, actually. And again, it was from Designs by Sub Rosa. This one is small. It's only, let me look here. Just love this chart. 93 by 120. So easy to do stitch. Now, as you can tell though, I did leave off this flower thing across the bottom, and I duplicated the one at the top so that it fit better in a 5x7. That's the only change I made. And used that, I don't know what blue it was. It was one that was wound on one of my bobbins, and it just said navy. Well, it wouldn't have run, but it was my fault. I turned this over on the back, and I framed this one myself. It's nothing, you know, it was an easy frame, 5x7. But I wanted to starch it. I left the starch on just a little too long, and you can see it kind of ran there on the 76. The 7 and the 7 and the 6. Maybe a little bit on the 1. But I left it just a little too long. It didn't run in the blue up here, or thankfully in the flag onto the white with the house, or on the bottom, just the year. But it's so minute, I'm not going to worry about it. 1776 by Designs by Sub Rosa. Okay, the last cross-stitch FFOs I think I have are 4 project bags. But they all have very special meaning to me. This one was stitched by my mom. It's just a red, and all my project bags I put a, well, this one is duplicate, but I try to put something light on the inside. She embroidered this. Who plants the seed beneath the sod and waits to see believes in God. It's a little girl out gardening. This one is a new pumpkin, not a pumpkin, but Halloween or fall project bag. This one I made with some fabric that I got from Alaska. All some of the places I went. You know, the trip in February, I left on my birthday, and it was the day there was a, you know, we just had all these plane accidents, one after another, after another, after another. And I had 2 cross-stitching friends that were, contact me. Are you there yet? Where are you? Are you okay? Has your plane landed? And I loved it when I finally got the messages, because it meant they cared. They were wondering. But because I was traveling with my mother that first trip in February, she is a huge worrywart and nervous and has anxiety. So in the airport in Seattle, I kind of had to turn her or have her sit so that she wasn't looking at the airport monitors or the news screens, because this little plane had just gone down outside of, I want to say it was outside of Nome. And there were like 6 or 9 people on board, and everybody perished. So when I got to our destination, which was my daughter's down on the bottom part of the Kenai Peninsula, I still didn't have really good reception, and I wasn't, or internet, and I wasn't getting messages. But like later on that night, all of a sudden, all these Yes, I'm fine. No worries. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm here. I'm safe in my bed. I'm fine. Then when we went in we left the middle of June, our daughter and son-in-law bought a fairly new, but new to them, 28-foot motorhome. And she was going to fly down from Alaska, and she and her dad and I were going to drive it back up for her. And then dad and I, hubby and I, were going to drive or fly home. The last minute, she couldn't make it. So she calls and says, would you guys mind driving that up here for me? With her, we had 8 days to make it across, what, 2,800, 3,000 miles. And we both looked at each other, dad and I, hubby and I said, heck yes. We took 3.5 weeks. To my followers and viewers in Canada, we crisscrossed from Alberta to British Columbia to Alberta to British Columbia, up through Whitehorse and Canada, the Yukon territories, followed basically the Alcan Highway. Oh my, what a beautiful, beautiful country you have. The water is like polar ice blue. Our daughter fed us every night was salmon that she had dip net fishing and she caught. Just the things we saw, waterfalls. We went through Banff National Park and Jasper National Park. No flat tires, no casualties, no engine problems, nothing. And then she lives down on the bottom part of the Kenai Peninsula. We took a train from Seward up to Anchorage. It was a 4-hour drive. Beautiful. Rained, cooler weather. We had raincoats on. I mean, we weren't covered, but raincoats. Some people were in boots and hats. I mean, it was cool. It was really much colder weather up there. And then we caught a taxi from the train station to the airport and flew home. So, but anyway, I got this in February. Oh, what I was going to say, though, is like a week or so after we got home, not even a week, 3 or 4 days maybe, these same two friends said, are you okay? There was just an earthquake in Alaska. It was the one that was out on the Aleutian chain, kind of out by Kodiak. And my mom commented that you are forbidden to go to Alaska anymore because of something always happens when you go to Alaska. Oh, I'm going to go. I will go to Alaska. It was so worth it. So anyway, this was just some fabric I got in Alaska at a quilt store. But I just loved it. I just loved it. I don't know what kind of a project I'm going to put in there, but I knew I didn't want a whole lot of fabric, just enough to make a project bag. And then the last one is one of my haul purchases from, it was a quilt store in, what's the name of the, Dawson Creek. It's right here. Dawson Creek is the start of the Alcan Highway. And I got Quilting Mile Zero. And then this fabric, some of you may recognize as an oldie from Country Threads, called Wear Warm Clothes. And I think this one is lined with the same, I'm not sure. Pine cones on one side and Wear Warm Clothes on the other. So those are all finishes. And before I forget, when we get to the quilting video, I'm showing a quilt that was made with a line from Country Sampler called Worn in La, Jefferson County. I also have another project I'm doing with one of her older lines called Worn and Loved that I will tell you about in a minute. But Jefferson County, I still have a whole stack of the fat quarters. And this quilt is a churn dash turned on point for a monkey wrench. But I'm digging into my stash for some of these older fabrics. And luckily, they have the salvage on them that I'm saving so that I know where these fabrics came from. My stash is upwards of sometimes, some pieces are probably 20, 30 years old. And I'm enjoying unraveling these as presents because some of them are so old. I had completely forgotten about this fabric. It was a kit that I'd purchased from Country Threads that I had some leftovers. And it was called Wear Warm Clothes. Oldie and goldie. I'm going to take a little break, reline up my table here, and next I'll do whips in progress. I'm kind of a monogamous or a duomogenous stitcher right now. I don't know if those are correct terms. And what I've been working on. Okay, as I mentioned before, I'm going to touch kind of briefly on some of the things I pulled out this summer and worked a little bit on them. Some are, they're from all, there's some samplers, there's Christmas, there's a few semi-quincentennial stitches that I want to work on, in a new start or two. I'm trying to stay away from the new starts. One of the new starts was Humming of the Bees by Blackbird Design. I started this on my birthday in February. February was a big month for me, a big birthday. So I had to start this, but I've loved this since it came out. Called for colors. I don't think called for fabric. I'm doing mine on, I'm just sure it's not the called for. Called for is Velt by Picture This Plus. And mine is, oh yes, Pearled Barley by Lakeside. When I was cleaning my studio out in January, I found a big hunk of Pearled Barley by Lakeside. Woo, was that a find. Anyway, I got most of my border started. That's about it. But once you get, I like to know, I'm one of those kind of stitchers that like to know that my border matches up. Plus I had this memorized. I would just go along and I had it memorized, so. Humming of the Bees by Blackbird Designs. Lakeside Pearl Barley with called for colors, and I'm probably going to be out of compliance on this one because my threads, I don't have a table in front of me. Here in my studio, I have my 14-foot gammal, and I have thought about filming on opposite side of my gammal, and I may do that next time. But for right now, this is as it is, but these are the called for colors. So it just makes it a little awkward for me to, just semi-quincentennial Blackbird Design colors. They're just beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. And it is in my bee bag that I made. The next one is, oh, you know, I may have to pause for my next break. This is Grateful, Thankful, Blessed. This is done 1/1 on 20, 2/1 on 20 count Vintage Country Mocha, because I wanted mine a little darker. Grateful, Thankful, Blessed by Brenda Gervais with a needle and thread. This is one that's been lingering in my whip pile and mocking me, and I really need to get this one done. After the one I'm working on, which is Turkey Hollow Farm, I'll put some love onto this one. I think I left Turkey Hollow Farm in the house. My studio is a detached building, so I'll run in a minute and get it. This is At Home by Brenda Gervais with I Needle and Thread. Beautiful colors. Beautiful colors. There's my start. I don't know if you could see that. None of these I ironed for you. I apologize. I think going forward, I may have, some of you are probably going to laugh when I say this, but I may do definitely not quite so long between videos and not so many projects, because yeah, it gets a little overwhelming when you've got 14, 15, 18 things to show, and oh, yeah, nothing can be ironed. But this is in my bag. This was a New Year's Eve start, I want to say, last year. This is in my bag that's got dry goods, flour, baking soda, cinnamon, vanilla, oats, salt. It's kind of got baking things all over it, and I thought that was a perfect bag for at home. I have just really enjoyed being at home. I am such a homebody, and with all the chaos going out in the world, there's just nothing like it. I really feel that that's my happy spot, my happy place. This next one is one I'm going to be starting. Do you see what I see? There'll be a Christmas start. This is by, Shelley Owen. Primitive Stitching by Shelley Owen. It should be a quick stitch. And I'm stitching this, and I haven't picked my fabric yet, it looks like. But I've already kitted up the threads. It does say in here, there's a tag in here that says 32 count Ren Belfast linen by Picture This Plus, but the fabric is not in there, so that might be, maybe it's in here. Nope. But I love all of Shelley's stuff. And I already pulled the DMC threads for it, so I guess I'm just down to picking out my linen. This is from Primitive Gatherings, Snowman Gatherings, maybe 1 or 2. Kind of icy blue. My quincentennial stitches, and then I will run in the house and get the 2 that I am duogamous stitching instead of monogamous. I am duogamous, which is His Eyes on the Sparrow and Turkey Hollow Farm. But let me get through these next 6 ideas maybe for you for semi-quincentennial stitches. The first one is from, I can't even show you because I purchased the chart, but I didn't pin out or print out the picture. Is Christmas Tide 1716 by Lori Rippey. And, oh, darn, I'm going to change the Christmas Tide 1716 to Christmas Tide 1776. This is 2 colors to it. Let me show you. Just a red and a green. And I'm going to be stitching this on 36 count Weathered Shingle by R&R. So when this one gets closer to Christmas, I will show you my finish. It's very, very small. Oh, maybe 50 by 105, maybe. I don't see it on here. Just looking at the chart. But I wanted a Christmas one that was 1776. So I'm going to take the liberty and change that Christmas Tide 1716 to Christmas Tide 1776. And that one is by Lori Rippey. I also finished her Holy Child last year for Christmas. I did a lot of Christmas stitching last year. Now from here, beside my 2 duogamous stitches, it's going to be a lot of patriotic or semi-patriotic stitching. One of them that I'm going to be doing is, I was a member of the Stacy Nash Drum. I'm going to be doing the Big Blue House Pin Keep Drum. And this one was kitted up by the Country Sampler. I haven't done the Christmas one yet. I haven't done any of them yet, so I figured this was a good one to do first because it's a patriotic stitch for the 250th anniversary. The next one, oh yes, I've seen this. I think Carol, Saltbox Carol. This one isn't started yet either. Liberty 1776, but it's kitted up. I've got it in my red, white, and blue bicycle bag. Liberty 1776 by Little House Needleworks. And I'm stitching this one on the 32 count Vintage Country Mocha with the called for flosses. And look at I made this floss drop, floss ring, bling, whatever you want to call it, It's a 13 star, oh, it's upside down. I apologize. I don't want my flags to be upside down. But it's a 13 star primitive flag and the call force. See if I can handle this right. Liberty 1776. I've always loved this. Nice, nice. I kidded. Oh, this one is a whip. This next one is a whip. I started it May of 2020 for Stitch Mania. And it's, it might be out of print. Maggie Bononomy along in conjunction with Blackbird Designs, Union Forever. And this one I think I'm going to turn into a drum. Now, go back with me for a minute. Humor me. May of 2020, we couldn't get much in the way of floss, threads, fabric. You couldn't really get much of anything, so I was using what I had on hand. And I want to say this is, I know it's 18 count, and I probably could start it over, but I don't want to. That's my dinky little start. Remember they used to call it fiddler's cloth, maybe? I don't know, but I just loved it. I just loved it. Again, Union Forever. Liberty plus Union, now and forever, one inseparable. This is from I say it was 2005. Yep, 2005, Union Forever. Beautiful design. Oh, I love this bag. I've started this summer. Oh, I won't tell you what it is yet. This was fabric from probably the early 2010, 2012, somewhere around in there, that I made a project bag out of. And I also have one that's Lincoln. And I don't know who the designer is. I've kind of gotten in the habit of putting the salvage edge down on the bottom, and there isn't one there. But I thought this was a perfect, Summer at Hollyberry Farm. I thought this was a perfect patriotic stitch. Farm, home life. I am going to take the liberty, though. I'm not putting that border on. I'm putting the smaller sawtooth border all the way around. She does beautiful work, don't get me wrong. I don't want that border distracting from that gorgeous house. I want it to be a little simpler. And this is the first time I've worked with, I think it's called Tin Bucket. This is as you're looking at the chart or the stitch, it's going to be the right half of the chart. That's all I've gotten done. But I started this one, I don't know, mid-August here, just a little while ago. It's not a huge start, but that's another reason why I don't think I'm going to be doing that border is I want this done. And I just think that smaller sawtooth border, if I do that all the way around, that will be enough. Oh, I just love this one. Summer at Hollyberry Farm, Stacy Nash. And then the last one I've debated, but it is so perfect, almost classic. Plum Street Samplers, American Sampler. This one I've started over. I love the saying even. Give me a calm and thankful heart, from every murmur free. The blessing of thy grace impart, preserve our liberty. Sic semper Trianus. And that says in a cardinal, the state's motto of Virginia. Sic semper Tyrannus, thus always to tyrants, is featured in this verse. And I don't know that I have started this one. I don't think I have. This one will be a future start. I did start this many years ago on something called Floba. but it's just going to be way too big. I don't want to do this, so I'll save this for something else and start it on. I have a piece of, I want to say it's the called for in here. 36 count Winter's Brew by R&R. Yep. Okay, and then the last two whips slash current projects slash things that I've been working on most recently. One is a fall stitched Turkey Hollow Farm by Stacy Nash. Just love it. To me, it's a classic autumnal stitch. And I'm just now grueling through the start of the border. The side border. I got my fence done, my pumpkin patch is done, and my one turkey over there is done. The border all the way around is done. This one is called for threads. 36 count cream and sugar by Fiber on a Whim. Sorry, I kind of got discombobulated there. And this is in my ever grateful for it Christy bag from Christy Crosshatch Quilts. This one is the one I really want to get done for this year. Oh, it's been languishing way too long. But when you're doing other things, like this next big monster, this is the project that I decided to take to Alaska with me. Why? I don't know. It's big. You have to count a lot, but I finished certain aspects of it. His Eyes on the Sparrow by Heartstring Samplery. When I left, I had most of the tree done at the bottom, and I had part of the wording, like a third of the wording, and I think it was even the second half, and I know. And some of the border done. So I decided that I was going to finish the wording, finish the tree. And I'm doing this on, I want to say it's 25 count vintage country mocha. And I got it at 123 Stitch. But I wanted it smaller. It's this small on purpose. But I decided for the next, when I took this to Alaska, in the evenings we pulled over and it stays light up there so long. The gardens were beautiful. And there was one spot, Tok, Alaska, and then again down by, it was a place called Glacier View, that we went and stayed for like 3 or 4 days in a RV park because we just needed a break. I could do some laundry, do some shopping, refill the refrigerator, mainly produce. We took all the rest of our own food. But anyway, I got all the wording and the border done here in the middle. I finished all the apples on the tree. And I just decided, I counted the number of those flowers and the vines all the way around, these right here, all the way around. And I think if I did a certain amount in July, which is the month I was in, and then divided the rest by the other 5 or 6 months there was left, 5 months, I could do 6 of those a month and be done. So that is my homework for right now, is 6 of the red blossoms and 6 of the, like right here, you can see where I've started for September. If I do 6 of those, we'll call them greenery, and 6 red blossoms, then I'll be done with the border by the end of the year. And so far I've done what I've said I was going to do. And then I can start working on filling on the inside. But this is it. 25 count vintage country mocha. I think I calculated this out, and it will fit in a 16 by 20 frame. But it is beautiful. I am doing 1/1. Oh, it's just gorgeous. I just love it. I don't think I will be doing the lily one. Consider the lilies, mainly because I like this one has all the different animals and the house that will be in the center. Let me show you this again. I know we've all seen it, but it's just stunning. His eyes on the sparrow, heartstring samplery. This really would be a huge accomplishment for the semi-quincentennial. It's not very patriotic, but at the same time, I think this would be very good representation of what it means to be in America. The other thing about this project that I want to share is, of course, the floss ring that it's got a ton of colors to it. Boy, against my quilts, it's kind of hard to see. I apologize. But this one has a floss drop that I made for myself. It's of Christ. And then this one is from Socks for Mom, and it's a sampler with hoops. But I really wanted this one on here because that's really what it's all about, right? See if I can get that there without the glare. It's a picture of Christ looking over Jerusalem, but you just see his, like from his, it's like be a bust image up. Anyway, this is what I really work on a lot while I sit out on my porch. I have those flowers and those greenery ferns memorized. And really, I've got a sheep on my bag. And my bag is just a cabins kind of, I don't want to say it's fallish, but it looks a little fallish. Cabin, trees. It's pretty with my sheep tag on it. Okay, that is it for that. Let me move on to just a few other things and then I'll do quilts and we'll be done. I think I will go to my Halloween stitches next, my previous finishes from previous years. The first one I want to show, I have the chart, but not the finished object. What's wrong with that? I don't know where it is. I guess I should really put some thought into this. But it's Where the Bittersweet Blooms by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. I do have that one finished. I just don't know where it's framed and everything. I just don't know where it is. The next one is, I don't want to say, this is one of the few that I couldn't find my chart for. I want to say this is called Pumpkin Blossom, but it's a Blackbird design. I have no idea what some of these are stitched on. If they're framed, I probably wrote it on the back, but this is just a, you know, a pillow. I do know that fabric is probably a Joe Morton. But I want to say it's called Pumpkin Blossoms. I can see the chart. It's like in the back of a book or the bottom of a chart. But I do know it's a Blackbird design. That I do know. Pumpkin Hollow. This was stitched for me by my friend Nicole, who, with any luck, I will be able to see here before the month is out. Bless her heart. She is going through a wedding of her son, and I think we're going to try and get down to it. It's a ways away, but nothing that we can't handle. Pumpkin Hollow, and I want to say this is a Little House Needleworks. Pick your own pumpkin. And I put prairie points on this pillow. I turned it in. She just sent me the middle part, and I finished it and put a pumpkin form, or a pumpkin form, a pillow form in it. Boy, I sound so congested. I apologize. Bad. Different size of prairie points, just to kind of keep people guessing. Pumpkin Hollow Farm, or Pumpkin Hollow. Ever Blessed, I know this is by Heartstring Samplery, and I want to say this might have been a freebie off of her blog. So I made it my own designs, a blue back, Ever Blessed. Beautiful design by her. Jack Be Nimble, Jack Be Quick, Not Forgotten Farms. And this is one that got damaged in some rain we had. But I still love it. Prairie Points. Jack Be Nimble. I'm just sure this is a Not Forgotten Farm. This one might be a freebie from the Little Stitcher 2013 Vintage Witch. And I took her example. Vintage Witch by Laura Ramola, the Little Stitcher. I took her example and framed it in an oval frame. Sorry for the glare. I enjoy this one every year. Fun stuff. Hallow Day Inn by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. This one's on a gingham, Weeks Dye Works, a gingham. Sorry for the glare. I'm trying really hard. Hallow Day Inn by With Thy Needle and Thread. Delicious Autumn, Blackbird Designs. This is one of my very favorites. And I wrote on the back, A is for Alma. Met her at my first retreat after Barb's passing, 9 of 21. I started this 9 of 2021 and finished at 8 of 24, so last fall. Delicious Autumn, Blackbird Designs, 36 count wren with called for colors. Normally, you know, you stitch your initial right here, but I left it as an A. The colors in this just don't even do it justice on the camera. It is just stunning. This was one of the projects at that retreat. And I think I started like a corner because I wanted to say I started it at the retreat and I finished it later, but I did start it at that retreat. When you go to retreats, who gets much stitching in, right? I mean, I did some in my hotel room at night, but yeah. Couple more. Autumn on Pineberry Lane, Autumn on Marigold Lane by Pineberry Lane. 36 count tin roof from Weeks called for threads, except wrought iron was substituted for onyx. Love the sideways alphabet on that one. One of my favorites. The Reverend Gordon Squash Bottom. This is the one I made an error in cutting out the final finished project. So he got some black rick down the side and some prairie points across the bottom. And this was on that, also on that 18 count. I want to say it's like a rustic, natural, raw. It's not Ada cloth. It's like a burlap. I just love that fabric though. I use it a lot, especially for things I want to look really, really rusticy. And the last two are finishes, but they're kind of quilting related. This is, I want to say it's called like a black cat naps. It's by Country Threads, and it's just a, can you see all of that? It's just like a table runner type. I made this so many years ago. Oh my word, probably, no, this is 2025, probably at least 20 years ago, I'd say. But it was fun. And the last one I only just finished a couple years ago. This was a kit from my girlfriend Nicole. She's so supportive of my madness and my endeavors. It's just a black and orange, see if you can see all of it. Black and orange table topper. I think it was 36 by 36, but it was, some of the fabrics were provided and it was fig tree. The rest of them you had to provide. And then I just quilted it with an all-over pantograph design. So there's that one. The best thing about this now is I get to leave all my Halloween stuff out and just kind of decorate. Method to my madness, right? Okay, I'm going to clean off this, put this away, and pull over the last segment of my FlossTube. Okay, before I get started on this last segment, I wanted to make just a small little announcement. Because I really cleaned house out here in my studio, it's, I think it's 25 by 14 with my gamel running right down the middle. My Bernina's over here on the side with the window. And my husband put a covering and awning, so I have a little porch out front. But I really cleaned house in January. And I came across not only my quilt that I'm going to show you here that was from Jeannie Horton, who owns and runs the Country Sampler in Spring Green, Wisconsin. I've been to her shop oodles of times. That's all I'll say, because it's one of my favorite, but I live 1,500 miles from it. So when I'm back there, I stop every chance I get. One of her first lines was called Worn and Loved. And then she also came out with Worn and Loved 2. I must have 5 yards of Worn and Loved fabric of just this pre-printed panel like thimbles. And I'm going to be making a few project bags. I've calculated I'll probably get about 20 out of the fabric if I use this for the front and the back. Now the lining is also from her line, the same line, Worn and Loved 2, and there is oodles of fabric here. So this fall, not right now, but I will tell you when, I'm going to be quilting up this on my long arm and then making some project bags. So stay tuned for that. I don't have an Etsy site. I don't have a website, but I do have an email associated with my long arm quilting business that I will be using that and utilizing PayPal for you to order those bags if you would like. And it will just be on a first come, first serve basis. I'm not, like I said, I kind of estimated, I've got 3 pieces that total around 5 yards. So I'm not sure exactly how many bags I will get, but my gamel right now is empty. It is completely empty. And that's the first thing that's going to go on is one of those pieces of Worn and Loved 2 for quilting so that I can make those bags. I even got the zippers off of Etsy. I really OD'd on ordering some zippers for that and some rickrack and lace for the top. They're not going to be anything fancy. They're not going to be the vinyl kind. They're going to be the fabric zip across the top, much like the ones I made. Something like this where they zip across the top. I know this pattern won't be, all of it's going to be the same, that Worn and Loved 2, but there will be a piece of rickrack or lace or something across it. So, and then the lining, like I said, will be the Worn and Loved 2 also. So while we're on the subject of, where do I go here? Well, that's down there. So let me do this first. When I was traveling through Alaska, I stopped at a quilt store in Whitehorse, Yukon Territory. And this woman did her own screen panels, screen printing. This pink flower in here is called fireweed. And it's all over in the northern part of Canada and all over in Alaska. And my mom loves cabins. So I bought her this piece and I'm going to make her a bag of some sort out of this for Christmas. So shh, it's a secret. But I just thought this was stunning. That she was printing her own panels. And she had it in a bag from Auntie B's. I'm not sure here. Annie B's? Auntie's 2. Auntie's 2 is the name of the person. And I've got some bags patterns here, but I'm not going to use this for that. I'm going to do my own version of a bag that my mom liked that I made her before. But I'm going to make her a new bag for Christmas out of that. The two patterns I did get at that store, one has, it's called the Little Poppins bag. If you don't know what that is, go out and research it or look it up. Little Poppins bag from Auntie's 2. And these metal things in here are called stays because this thing pops open like a doctor's bag. And I've seen a lot of people make these for retreats, or you can fit all kinds of cross stitch in here, or quilting paraphernalia. But I'm going to be making one of those. Out of what yet, I don't know. But I did get this pattern at, it was in Whitehorse, and it was the Yukon Territory. Stunning quilt shop. I was just kind of oogled and awed. Then this one is Auntie's 2 pattern, the Happy Holler. And these are specifically made out of panels. The bottom one is a barn. But these two, this pattern too is huge, huge bag. Good for retreats or whatever. And this one came with the zipper. So that was part of my haul. The other one I got, this was off of Etsy, and I want to say it was called So... I'll put it across the bottom. It was just a simple layer cake of background fabric by Henry Glass, and I want to say it was Kim Deal. I'm not exactly sure, but it has yeah, by Kim Deal. Butter Churn Classics, that's what it was. A bunch of like almost shirtings or neutrals. I almost have something in mind that I want to make with this, but I don't want to commit myself yet. There's some few other things that I want to do. Finish up, I should say, the last. I did order a few floss drops, floss bling from Socks for Mom. I got a darling lady writing a letter. And my favorite is this one. A girl holding her project with a 13. I love the 13-star flag behind her. See if you can get that. Again, Becky, Socks for Mom. 2 more. I got one is, I know, is Martha Washington. Look at this. And the last one is I got for my Humming of the Bees, the one I started on my birthday. Came with fun little gift bags too, just darling. Threadwork Primitives, Where Liberty Dwells. This was one I just, not maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago got. I thought that was a perfect sampler for America's birthday. Where Liberty Dwells. There is my country. That was from Ben Franklin, I want to say. Attributed to Ben Franklin, 1783. Oh, phew, this is fun. Possibly next fall's quilt. This is only 60 by 60. Pumpkins and Cream by Fig Tree Quilts. Oh, look at those different... Oh, my cat's at the door. You might hear him. Oh, love all those different quilt designs in the pumpkins. Pumpkins and Cream. Oh. Almost done. This is one book I did get at that quilt store. Like I said, I'll put it across the bottom. In Whitehorse, Canada. Whitehorse, Yukon Territory, Canada. Bear Paw Productions, Out of the Blue. And there is one right here. There were 2 that I wanted to do. I don't have, I just tend to go for the more traditional. One is called West Wind, which I'm sure is this one right here on the back. Yeah, West Wind is right here on the back. Ooh, look at all those triangles. But, oh, I love the challenge. And the other one is called Delectable Mountains, and it's right here, the top one. Out of the Blue, 2-color quilts by Brenda Henning. Okay, we're not quite to the quilting yet, but I will tell you when it's coming. Oh, about this spring sometime. I had my local little public library here in my town has a book sale twice a year. I hyperventilated all the way home. I think I may have had to check myself into the ER because I got this for 25 cents. Pumpkin Patch Threads by Needle Love. It was just laying on the table. Like I said, I hyperventilated. I did not pass go. I did not collect $200. I went straight home with this and had a cup of tea. It was like March, April, May sometime, and devoured it cover to cover. 25 cents. All the pages in the middle are still stapled in. I mean, look at this. Yeah. 25 cents. There's not even hardly a scratch on the cover. It's like brand new. On the back it says $25.25 right there. Yeah, I hyperventilated. I think I hyperventilated until I fell asleep that night. Okay, the last couple of things here. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I've been out of the realm so much. Maybe when I worked at the Quilt Crossing in Boise, I stocked up on a lot of needles for my domestic machine, which I have a Bernina. It's a quilter's edition. Needles used to be what? A pack of 10 or so for $3, $4. And I'm not dissing on where I got these from, because all of a sudden here now I'm going to take this off. But I will say it was a large chain. That's all I'll say. Large chain. But a pack of 10 was now $7.99 for needles for a domestic sewing machine. I think I about fell off my chair when I saw it. So there must be something. Granted, these say chrome professional grade, but all of the needles, whether they had that on there or not, were $7.99 for a pack of 10. I'm just gonna have to be very, very careful. Most of the time, I'll break a needle when I have my zipper foot on for my bags, and then I go back to regular stitching. And it's either zigzag down the side, or I'm doing my lining or something, and bammo, I will hit that quilting foot and it will break. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I had severe sticker shock. Quick book update. I am a fan. I'm going to hide my address here. I'm a fan of Mary Jane's Farm. She is an Idahoan like I am, and very good issue on books and the library and fall and some wonderful recipes. But in here she highlights Wind in the Willows, and this is a treasured copy from my friend Nicole, who I'm hopefully going to get to see here at the end of September, from her childhood. And this one happens to be the golden anniversary edition. But the pictures in here, the illustrations are, let me find one here, are just stunning. And if you haven't read this book, especially if you haven't even read it since your childhood, oh, I highly recommend you running, not walking, down to your library and getting a copy. Oh, there went my bookmark. Getting a copy and rereading it. Classic, classic, classic. Classic book. Highly recommend that one. This one, I'm not sure. I bought this several years ago. It's Simple Reflections, A Journal for Memories and Musings by Kim Deal. And she has recipes and then just blank pages in here for you to write. And this is so pretty. I don't want to use it. But look at this quilt. There's just, each page has a a beautiful picture. Who doesn't love a good red and white quilt? And then, you know, a picture on this side or a recipe, and then this side is blank. And I'm just really hesitant. I don't want to write in it. Raspberry Kiss thumbprint cookies. Just beautiful. Simple Reflections, a journal for memories and Musings, Kim Deal. And this came out, I wrote my name in the front, but that's about all I did. It doesn't have a, well, it's got a 2018 calendar in the back. 2018. So 8 years ago. Beautiful, beautiful. And the last one is, I don't even know, I'm a big Tasha Tudor fan. I don't know if you can even, maybe on the Amazon secondary market, Betty Crocker's Kitchen Gardens, but this one is illustrated by Tasha Tudor. This is, even going into fall, is just a little garden in which to walk. One of my very, very favorite treasured memories. Reading this with my mom when I was little. Little gardens may be grown on a windowsill or in a window box. And I know it's autumn, but because I haven't seen you for 8 or 9 months, I've kind of been saving this stuff. But now I'm in full autumn mode. Oh, Tasha Tudor. I love that one. Okay, last pile here. Last fall, when I went to Illinois, I got this panel at Amana. And I kept thinking, what am I going to do with this? What am I going to do with this? It's, you know, double-sided, or I don't want to say double-sided, but double wide. Okay, there we go. I decided that this one up here and this little pumpkin over here, the one that says Trick or Treat right here, and Haunted Corn Maze, I'm going to turn these into some Trick or Treat bags for my cousin's daughter's daughter. Would that be like my cousin's second time removed? My cousin's daughter's daughter. I think that would be like cousin's second time removed. Anyway, I'm going to make those for them. I thought they're 1 and 2.5. I thought they'd be cute for them. So, but I loved this panel. And yes, I got it at Amana. Loved Amana. Oh my. Okay, this is my stack of Jefferson County from, it's Wyndham Fabrics, Jeannie Horton at the Country Sampler. And I got this when it first came out, and I'm scared to death to cut into these. I love this line of fabric. It's very, very beautiful. I haven't taken it apart yet. But it's called Jefferson County. There's 38 fat quarters in here. Beautiful stack of fabric. And I'll show you the quilt I made with a layer cake from this line. But what I want to show you is the quilts that I finished with it. And I did an opening of it on slow motion that I'll put at the end of the video. This quilt has been 10 years in the making. I used the Quilt Crossing when I worked there. I used their AccuQuilt Go machine. I borrowed it on a weekend and I took it home and cut out everything from this layer cake. And that was, I know, was in the spring of 2015. Finally sat down this spring and early summer, finished putting the blocks together. Then after I came back from Alaska in July, I just said, I am going to push through. I'm going to get that quilt top done, quilted, and bound. And it's big. I can't, I'll take pictures of it. But it's, even this right here is from that line. Let me see if I can, I don't think I can back up anymore. But this is called, if it was like this is called a churn dash. But when you turn it on point, it's called a monkey wrench. So here are, and then I just did an all over panto on this called Fantasia. But I will take a picture of this because I believe it measured out at 64 by 64. So, and it's not, the backing is not from that line, but Jefferson County by Jeannie Horton. Oh, I just love this fabric. Love, love, love. So you can see all the corners. Yeah, monkey wrench is this way. Like I said, if I would have put it on a straight setting, that would have been a churn dash. But this is a monkey wrench. I should have also quilted it in country sampler style with a lot of the small meander. But I just wanted this one done. Now, by the time I wash this, cold water, put it in a hot dryer, dry the heck out of it, it will still shrink up. Meandering, what's the... I've been a long arm quilter for 20 years. 21 years now, I guess. 2004. So yeah, 21 years. Stippling. Oh gosh, you can tell I'm tired. Stippling all over this, but I still think I'll get the same effect once I wash this and dry this in the dryer. But I'll take a picture of this. Like I said, it's big, and it's just nothing but monkey wrenches all over. I finished, this is just a very small table runner, and my mom hand quilted this one for me. It's just a blue and white thimble, and there's another name for it. Anyway, I call them thimbles, but it's just a table runner that I think I'm going to put in our bedroom on our, I have a dry sink that's got decorations on it. I'll put that in there with the blue backing. But my mom quilted it for me, hand quilted it. She is so good to me. She is so good to me. And then I did, the first time I went to Alaska, I was working on this. This is from the book Joe's Little Favorites 3. And I was working on Pineapple Table Runner. And I had all my blocks done. I had 4 of them. No, I take that back. I had 4 of them done. And I thought, coming back from Alaska, we flew out at really in the morning, like 7. So we had, in February, by the time we got on the plane, got settled, took off, I pulled this project out because I wanted to take, it's paper pieced. And I wanted to take the papers off of this while I was on the plane. So, I mean, look at these tiny pieces, right? But I had 4 of the blocks done, took it on the plane, and so many people are intrigued with what you're doing, you know, when you're stitching, knitting, sewing, applique, whatever you're doing. What are you doing? What are you doing, right? Well, but then by the time I started taking the papers off the back of this, the stewardess was even intrigued. She was like, sorry, flight attendants. I apologize that. Even the flight attendant was intrigued with what I was doing. But I really started looking at those blocks, and I made a huge mistake. So I stopped. I just said, I'm just going to make this with the 4 that I have, admit my mistake, and go on. This is the stipple. I've already washed this, dried it at 1,000 degrees practically, maybe not, 250. Anyway, I did not leave, I cut too close. So you can see like where my last, layer was supposed to be, my last paper piece, on a couple of the blocks are way off. I did not leave myself the seam allowance. Duh, Shanda. So I stopped where I was. This is a nice little candle mat maybe or something for this fall. I don't know. But it's done. Reds and browns. Just kind of funky. I still love it. I still love it. I still just love it. This one I think is the worst that you can see. This white right here, right here, right here, and a little bit down there. The rest of them, not so much. But I'm still very happy with it. Here's my back. I'm going to put a candle on it and call it a day for my dining room table. Last This one has been a huge undertaking. It was a challenge because there was inset seams, and to most quilters, inset seams are a bear. This is Turning Around, and it says 40 by 40 on the back, by Pickering Farms, which is no longer in business, in Richmond, New Hampshire. I bought this winter of 2007, and the date on it is, it doesn't have a date here on the back. Oh, 2001. But I bought it in 2007. My husband and I went back just to see what New England was like in the winter. Who does that, right? Who goes to Alaska in February? I will tell you that it was beautiful, but it wasn't a cold, a wet cold. It wasn't a dry cold. It felt like I was standing on a 12 million acre ice cube. Love the state. Will continue to go back, but I don't think I could live there. And I even like cold and snow. But anyway, 2007, my husband and I went back to New England, and I want to say it was in February. Pretty sure. Turning Around, and it says 40 by 40. This quilt came out like 60 by 60. I'll take a picture of this one too. Inset seams, because how do I want to do this? 4 churn dashes was 1 a block, and there was a square, perfect square in the middle. Well, these churn dashes are rectangular, so think about it. Putting those 4 together with a square, you had to start and stop and leave one of them unsewn until you got all the way to the end. But I love this quilt. I want to say it was mostly out of Lynn Hagmeyer's Kansas Troubles. And I'll take a picture of this one too. But let me hold this up. The square is right here. So when you sewed this block to this block, you had just a little bit of a square here to include. And then when you connected to this one, you had an inset seam. But I loved this quilt. I just love it. And it is. It's like 60 by 60. It's huge. When I counted the number of blocks, it's 3 by 3. That's what this is. 1, 2, 3 by 1, 2, 3 blocks. I was like, okay, something's cattywampus. But, oh man, I love this quilt. I'm so glad I got it done. I started this shortly after I got home from that trip. So even some of these fabrics are obsolete. I guess I'm blessed to have stash. Reds, blues, greens, kind of autumnal colors. But I am just loving this quilt. Can you believe it? We made it through. Only over an hour. I get to, number one, I'm going to load my fabric from Worn and Loved 2 and start making some project bags. I get to put all this away, but most of it I get to incorporate into my decorating for fall and Halloween, mainly fall first. But it'll take me a couple days to get this uploaded, but I am excited to start my project bag project. Other than that, I will see you, this is September, I will see you in October, around the first part of the month of October, and I will have less projects. They will probably be ironed, but a lot more stitching and quilting. I think, hands down, when the world is going absolutely ape crazy, stitching makes it happen for me. I can't even imagine not having my stitching. Just like when I was in Alaska and we stopped for 3 or 4 days. Of course, I did the laundry and I replenished the produce, the fresh strawberries, the lettuce, the stuff for salads. But then I got out my stitching and I could stitch out. I could stitch there until 9, 10 o'clock because I had perfect light. perfect light. My husband would put the awning out on the RV, and we were usually both times either by, one was a smaller rushing creek because runoff was happening, or a river, pine trees. That's the first thing I couldn't wait to sit down and do, was to stitch. I wanted to get caught up on that, his eyes. I wanted to get caught up on his eyes on the sparrow. Motorcycles going by. The kids out here have a lot of little dirt bikes, and I love it. I love that they're having fun. But I could not wait to stitch at night. That was my go-to. Beautiful country we saw, and I'm so glad. So many people have told me I was born 200. I have been born 200 years too late, or even 100 years too late. I love my indoor plumbing. I have my stitching. That's all I really need. I feel grounded when I have my stitching. Many of you know what I'm talking about. You shut off the world. You shut out your crazy life that happens, not by something you've done, but others that are affecting you, and you can cope. You can somehow finagle through the rest of your day. Next time I record, I will probably use the back of my Gamma and be further down here by my Pie Safe and other quilts. And then I even want to turn the camera around one time and film with my fabric stash behind me. So until then though, stitch much, stitch a lot. Take your stitching to football games, practices, I guess I should say. Do something to make those people say, oh, what are you working on? Or, I could never do that. Yes, you can. My soapbox is, so many times I hear little girls say, my grandma taught me that. My grandma taught me to do that. I'm not against grandmas teaching her to do that, but I think it needs to be more mothers. My mother taught me that. My mother taught me this. My mother taught me that. I think we need to include more of that prose in our everyday. Be happy, stitch a lot, try to limit social media, limit me. It's all good. But when you close your eyes and you just think, listen to what you're